Hello everyone, my name is Christian. Welcome to my hobby blog. Today we are going to discuss the second title of the Vinegar Syndrome 2022 January package that comes with the subscription. So this one is, of course, Curfew. This one is one that I didn't really have any interest in when I went in. When I saw and read about it, when it came in physically before I did the unboxing video, I was kind of looking through it, and there really wasn't much that I was interested in. I think the only thing that was interesting to me was that the director later went on to do Charlotte's Web, and in my head I was like, how did he go from this home invasion movie to that? And also, I'm looking at it now because there's a character in this movie who looked very familiar. And I see now on the back it says that she was in Halloween, the original one. So that makes sense. Basic fun facts for now. Not really fun facts, but just facts. This movie was from 1989 and is directed by Gary Weineck. I think that's how you say it, right? I've already done an unboxing, so I'm not going to comment on the packaging. I did not watch any supplements for this. There are only 2 interviews on here, one with the actor Wendell Wellman, and then an interview with the editor. So it's not the beefiest release by Vinegar Syndrome. It's not like a VSA title, I guess, or like a Beastmaster, where you have documentaries upon documentaries and audio commentary tracks and interviews and essays and like this, that, and the other. This is a really bare bones release. It's the first time it's ever been on Blu-ray, I believe, at least on disc. It's a worldwide Blu-ray debut, so newly restored in 2K, so that's interesting. Vinegar Syndrome has been on top of the game in terms of bringing back movies that have no releases, and this is one of them. But initial reactions, it was good. I enjoyed it. I wasn't bored. But I think the biggest flaw of the movie is that it was predictable. Everything you think is going to happen within the first 30 minutes is going to happen later on. So this movie, basically, I guess I'll just kind of give a rudimentary, not summary, but like a plot, introduction. So the movie starts off with a dream sequence of one of our characters who ends up being one of the brothers of the 2 arrested murderers who later stalk and try to find the mayor or the prosecutor's family in order to exact revenge. So this is a revenge film, but we see a dream sequence with one of the brothers, the younger one, named Bob. He is kind of eating breakfast with a woman, and his brother kind of just shows up drunk and is like, "Get out of here, brother." And then he has sex with the girl, and then we get a kind of like a smash to black to both brothers being in jail. So we're kind of like, huh, what's going on? But we get a pretty awesome intro sequence with some very heavy 80s synthesizers. So thankfully, this movie wasn't 1990 or 1991, because then it'd be just a tiny bit dated. So they were kind of at the tail end of the 80s, so synthwave soundtrack is not bad. But we get introduced to this high school girl named Stephanie, who's the daughter of the prosecutor who sent the 2 men away to jail. And she's going to a date and ends up meeting the judge on the way there, and the judge is kind of weird. He wears like a cowboy hat, and he's commenting and being like, "Oh, you want some lemonade, don't you?" And she's like, "No, not really." And he's like, "How about I give you pants since you're not wearing any?" And she's like, "Well, I'm on the way to a date. They have some back and forth. There's really not much happening with the judge character. Because they're kind of the first family around the neighborhood that gets killed off when the two brothers show up and are trying to find the prosecutor's home. But yeah, Stephanie is, our normal protagonist of an 80s home invasion movie. She comes back home after an experience with the cop and finds that the judge's house has been broken into, and the judge and his wife have been killed, and so she goes back home because it's across the street and finds that her parents are still not home and there's some weird stuff going on. And so she runs away, calls the police, and the police are like, alright, let's go to your home. And they go to your home, and the parents are there. We're like, okay, something weird's going on. And then it ends up that they're actually hostages for the two brothers. They've been there the whole time. And then the rest of the movie happens, and it's exactly as you think it is. That was the first 30 minutes, maybe 25 minutes. And again, I think the biggest flaw is that it is predictable. The gore is good at times. There's some really good, I guess, shootings, bullets hitting people. One of the deaths that happened at the end of the movie was really weak, in my opinion. But you just have some awesome, I guess, ending of our main character rising, to the occasion or to the situation and overcoming the threat. But all I could think of while watching this movie was how much I wanted to watch this movie instead. Michael Haneke's, or it's like German, so I'm saying it Germanic, but Michael Haneke and his film Funny Games, which came out a few years later in 1997. This movie takes the home invasion trope to the millionth degree. It's the most stressful, anxiety-induced movies. It breaks the boundaries of reality at some points of the movie because it is a commentary on American thrillers, which I think they were looking at movies like this to kind of, at least the director was, in order to kind of comment on the needlessness of violence that is rampant in these type of movies, which is a draw of the genre. So I'm not too bothered by it, but this movie, what he does with it is so genius, and there were many parts of Curfew where I felt like Michael Haneke did those story beats that Curfew did just a million times better. Nothing in this movie is predictable. It is absolutely insane. The director did remake this movie about 10 years later when he had enough money, because this was just like a personal project of his. I think it's his first movie he ever directed, a feature-length movie. And it is absolutely gut-wrenching the entire time. He did remake it about 10 years later, as I said, with Naomi Watts, who is one of my favorite actresses. She's in a lot of David Lynch movies. She was even in season 3 of Twin Peaks, which, she's a world-class actress at this point. Everybody knows her. She's a household name. And she came back to do a David Lynch property, which is amazing. But I prefer the remake. I love the original, of course. It's a lot more visceral because he's filming not with these super high quality cameras that he had for the remake. Although I think the remake works a lot better for the concept of commenting on American thrillers, because he wanted to make funny games with American actors, but he just didn't have the resources at the time. And so when he made the remake, he was able to do that. He made it look really crisp, and he kind of took a lot of the ideas he had in this one way farther beyond what he uh, did in the original. So I think this is a much better movie than Curfew. Curfew is not bad though. If you haven't seen Funny Games, you'll probably kind of love this. This movie is well paced. It was only an hour and a half, maybe 89 minutes, 86 minutes. So it, bam, 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 just kept going the entire movie. The issue is that it's predictable. So that's kind of my review of Curfew. I may have spent more time talking about Funny Games, because Funny Games takes this exact kind of movie where they're sitting around the house doing torture on our characters, these two brothers. And Funny Games has a two brothers antagonist. So lots of very similar aspects to both of these movies. And they're maybe within, 8 years or whatever. But, yeah, they do just sit around the house and the brothers torture the family. And sometimes they let them go, but only to be caught again. And again, I just kept thinking of Funny Games and how much I would rather watch that one. Because in that one, the violence is turned up to the millionth degree. You don't feel well. You feel like bugs are crawling on you the entire movie. In this movie, it's like, okay, like really great music, great synthesizers, great acting. It's just predictable, which is, I think, a big hurdle for me. I'm not going to try and compare it to Master of the World and which one I prefer. That's going to come out after I'm done with all of the movies and I do the ranking. But I guess the question that I'm going to pose to myself is, would I buy this if I did not have the subscription? I haven't seen the supplements, so I'm only going to speak about the movie. I would probably buy this on standard edition. I wouldn't shell out money for the slipcover, because the non-slipcover anyways looks really fucking nice. So on the shelf, I think it would look just as good as with the slipcover. The slipcover looks really good, but it makes me think of like the opera cover by Dario Argento with the two eyes and the I guess the theater seating that you see in the movie. But I think it's definitely worth a watch, at least. If you see it on streaming, go ahead and watch it. It's really good. It's just predictable. So that's really the only complaint that I have. The gore could be much better, and maybe that's just me comparing it to Funny Games. But yeah, definitely worth a watch. Definitely willing to buy it on standard edition. Slipcover is usually about $5 more. That's up to you, honestly. Whether you want to see this slipcover on the front or the alternate art. So kind of make your own decision there. I guess that's it. I only have 2 other releases to go, Dead Heat and The Forgotten Jolly Volume 4. I'll try to get those done next week. I think I'm just going to focus on getting my watch pile down a bit. I have Arrow Video releases coming in. All of them have actually showed up, except for one, because that one has been high demand, I guess. Everyone has been buying it. So it's taken a while. I did an Orbit DVD haul, which is huge, bigger than I thought. It's 7 Eureka titles. First time I bought Eureka. So I'm excited to show that off. So without further ado, I think that's it. Thank you all for watching. Let me know if you've seen this movie and whether you feel like buying it now because of the review or kind of holding off. Kind of your thoughts on whether you want to get this or not based off of the review. So thank you all for watching, and make sure to tune in next time. Thank you.